if 2024 were a cup, it'd be nearly half full. I mean, sure, in a couple of months, there's going to be Christmas jingles on every corner, and I'm going to be watching an embarrassing amount of city girls fall in love with men wearing flannel.
Now she'll learn to follow her heart.
Talks about smelling the roses more.
Hello. But in reality, there are still more than 5 months left of this year. That means that not only do we have time to set ourselves up for success in 2025, but we actually have more than enough time to crush 2024 and frankly, to change our lives. My name's Zoe Robertson. Let's get learning and let's get locked in. First of all, to change our lives, we need to know what we want to change, how we want to change, what do we want. It all starts with that what. Who do you want to be at the end of this year? What do you want to look back to? I love backtracking. I always talk about this. Start with the end goal in mind, literally December, holidays. Not only what is your health, wealth, and accomplishments looking like the end of 2024, but we are setting ourselves up for success in 2025. So what are you looking forward to in 2025? What is your vision for that year? Honestly, if I were you at this point, I would create a little 2025 vision board on Pinterest. That is what I usually do for a new year. It really puts into perspective not only what you want and what you're working for, but it also gives you a focus, like specific goals to work towards so that you can, spend your time doing what is actually needed and wanted instead of just being busy. But it's not enough to have a what. We need a why. A deep why. Everyone talks about this because, hey, it's true. How do you want to impact the world and your loved ones? And what is your mission in life? And how do these accomplishments for 2025 and 2024 align with you as a person and your mission on this earth? And why is that mission your mission? Why are you the right person to do these things? And hey, I believe that you are the right person to do these things, by the way, but it is super, super important that you truly believe in that as well. And that's why we have to sort of unravel and go so much deeper than just, oh, I totally want to do this thing. Because if we don't know exactly what's going on, then we, tend to sabotage ourselves. What, why, how? I know everyone says leave the how up to the universe, and I do in a certain way agree with that. If there are things that happen, totally be able to shift, but we do need a certain plan to begin with. One thing I really appreciate from Tess Barkley, for example, who's sort of this guru for content creators and entrepreneurs, is that she always says hey, there are many ways to do things, but do what is easiest and more natural to you. So what I would do if I were you is get out a piece of paper and do a quick brainstorm, write down your goals and write down lots of different ways to get there. If you want to lose weight, for example, you don't have to run every single day and eat just salads. There are so many different ways of eating. There are so many different ways of getting an exercise. If you want to make money, there's also a lot of ways to make money. There are many ways to prioritize your partner. Whatever your goal is, just really, really think about several ways to do that and think, what sounds the most appealing to me, what I think will be something that I can really, really stick with. There are so many things we can do, but there are fewer things we can be consistent with. And we're going to look more at this in the next step. And don't worry, we'll totally get a lot more specific than we are in this first part of the process. But a lot of this is just we have to know ourselves. And one thing we do as humans a lot that I think is very unfortunate, I know I've done this a lot, is that we think, I want to go there, and this is the way to do it. And when this way doesn't work, we sort of give up and think, oh, what's meant to be? It's not for me. And it's no, there's so many ways to do it, and we have to go the path that makes sense for us. If there's one thing we are not going to blame our failures on, it is lack of knowledge. You're on Zoetopia, knowledge is power. Fill as many gaps in your knowledge as you can on different methods to reach your goals, as well as the specifics. For example, if you want to do running, how do you stay consistent with running? Google that. If you think you're interested in print on demand, awesome. Research how to build a print on demand business. If you want to get back into reading and you don't know where to start and you're thinking, oh, what should I do? Should I just pull out a random book? Research what are some books that are great to get back into reading. Maybe you have some of those books. Whatever you think is the issue with where you want to go and how you want to go there, research that. Whenever we're struggling with something, if we acquire just a little bit of knowledge, that is usually how we actually get there. In my opinion, it is best to focus on fewer things at a time. So I'd say 3 to 5 goals would be perfect. And don't stress because you're like, oh, 3 to 5 goals, but I wouldn't change everything. Hello. If you're prioritizing your health, the glow up will come. If you're prioritizing making money, the lifestyle will be better. As soon as we form some really good strong habits, high tide raises all ships. So don't stress about that and feel like there are too few goals. Those goals and working on those will get you very far in all areas of life. And once you have those goals, what you want to do is to break them up into smaller pieces for each month so that you know that you're on track. And obviously write down your goals because like I always say, there's a 40% higher chance of reaching goals once they're written down. 40%. If I were you, I'd just do it. And of course, once you've actually written down your goals, look at them to remind yourself what you're doing, and that will help guide your actions throughout the day. If goals are the destination, then habits and systems are the ship, and you're the captain. So you definitely need habits. Every goal should have at least one habit. If you want to see a breakdown of different habits for different goals and ways to be more consistent with them, definitely watch my videos, 10 habits that have changed my life, because yes, they have literally changed my life. And I, of course, use methods from Atomic Habits. I always do this, I always talk about this, and Atomic Habits is linked down below. So I would check it out if I were you if you haven't. That being said, habits should be specific. Working out is not a habit within itself, it's an action. However, working out every morning after I take the dog out, that's a habit. One of my favorite habits, actually. Habits need to be super specific. They need to be like, I drink a glass of water, then. And this is what I call my grandma, you know? And they need to be very tangible and measurable. There should not be a question of, oh, have I reached my habit today? If that is even a possibility, then that is not a habit. Habits need to be like, oh, it's done. Like, oh, I put away my phone at that and that time. Not like, oh, be less on my phone. Because if you don't know whether or not you've been less on your phone, that's a problem. It should be like, oh, I'm not on my phone after 7 p.m., for example. That's a habit. And the reason also why this is so specific is because the point of a habit is not to cross off a list for the rest of your life. The point of a habit is that it is habitual. It needs to be specific enough to be triggered and automated. It's sort of like when you close the door, you lock it. It needs to be specific enough to be triggered and just become a part of your routine. For example, I don't think about, oh, I need to take my vitamins, and honestly, if I'm traveling or something, I totally forget. But when I'm cooking dinner, I remember, because the act of cooking dinner reminds me that, oh, I just started cooking dinner, that means I'm just about to take my vitamins. And when it comes to habits, it's slow and steady when there is. And that is why we are not doing too many goals. I said have at least one habit for each goal. 3 to 5 habits is massive. That is a lot. Start with the habits you start with and just be focused on those. We are focused, we are locked in, and the goal here is to actually succeed. It's not to try to do as many things as possible, it's to do the things we're supposed to do and succeed. And to be certain that we're able to do this, we need to support our habits and our goals with systems. And although I did say that you're not going to live off of a list for the rest of your life unless you want to begin with, you definitely should have a list, a sort of habit tracker, if you will, which doesn't have to be a lot. I usually just write it down on my phone and like my notes app and just check it off. You can have it on Notion, you can have it on a piece of paper, whatever you want to do, as long as you can keep track of your habits and whether or not you've done them. That's everything you need, really, just to be sure that everything is done in the day they are supposed to do. Then also systems surrounding the habits. For example, like laying out your clothes the night before you're going to the gym, putting your vitamins next to your toothbrush, or like James Clear says himself in Atomic Habits, putting a book on your pillow when you make your bed in the morning so that you can just like read when you go to bed at night if you want to read more. It's just having things visual in general, you know, out of sight, out of mind. So you got to put it on top of your mind by putting it like right in your eye line. You need to help yourself and be your own biggest supporter. I would also say for systems, like have rewards for reaching smaller goals just to keep yourself motivated and to also remind yourself that what you're doing is actually super big. Even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, you are actually changing how your life will look in the next 20-30 years by how you're treating yourself in your life right now. I would also absolutely recommend you to plan out your days. For example, like I said, I like to scribble things down in my notes app, just like the things I do on day to day, like, oh, drink water and work out, stuff like that, and then also like the things that are specific to that day. By writing things down, it's sort of like your goals that you keep them top of mind, and it's easy to be like, okay, it's like 8 in the morning, gotta start my day, okay, I have this and that to do, so I'll plan it like that, you know, just having a plan. It's a lot easier to waste the day if you don't know going into it what the plan is. So it's always better to plan your days in advance. No matter what systems you go with, honestly though, number one thing is that the system works for you. This is for you, by you. And you are so much closer to reaching your goals and changing your life and building out great systems just by having watched this video. So go you. Please comment down below what your goals for 2024 are. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next video. Take care.